Some 18 months ago, Lord Bernard Donoughue was charged with effectively revolutionising the sport of greyhound racing. And now that the Donoughue report has been implemented, does he deem it a success?
The governance of greyhound racing and the regulation was in quite a mess 2 years ago when I did the report and we had the committee discussing how to reform the industry. And the regulatory side was very unsatisfactory and all kinds of concerns about welfare and various sides of the industry, promoters, regulators, disliking one another and lots of battles. I think that seems, for now at least, to have been sorted out. They've set up the new governing and regulatory body, which my report recommended. They've done that very well and very quickly, and the new people are in place, and I'm very impressed by the new senior people running the industry. I've been into the new headquarters, and the atmosphere is totally different, whereas 2 years ago, when you talk to anyone from the industry, very rapidly they were trying to knife someone else. Now there seems to be much more harmony and much more commitment to go forward and make this wonderful sport, and it is a wonderful sport, more successful. And so I'm very pleased, feel very satisfied with what has happened.
And what has happened is the formation of the new Greyhound Board of Great Britain, replacing the NGRC and BGRB. The two senior appointments have been Maurice Watckins as chairman and Ian Taylor as chief executive.
I said to the committee quite early on that such was the background, the dysfunctional background of squabbling and backbiting, that what we needed really was a clear out. And new blood, people coming, not carrying the luggage of past battles and past disputes and so forth, and bring in new people. So I was very committed to have a clean sheet and new people of very highest calibre, and I'm very happy we managed to do that.
So does Lord Donoughue feel that his report gives greyhound racing a brighter future than it might have had?
I hope I've helped a little. But I think greyhound racing will still be a major sport, and it'll be a major sport because of the wonderful people in there working for it. And I especially think of the trainers and the owners. And it'll be a wonderful sport because of the wonderful dogs. And my part I'm quite privately proud of, but is really quite a small part in helping a basically great sport and industry get back on track as it deserved to do.
Chief Executive Ian Taylor will discuss his vision for the future in a later edition of The Dogs. But today we hear from Chairman Maurice Watckins, a director of Manchester United, who brings a wealth of experience in the business and commercial world. He heads a team committed to ensuring greyhound racing builds and thrives, and most importantly is, well, united.
One of the criticisms, I think, of the industry has been the fact that it's been too much at each other's throats, and I think what we're trying to do here is to bring it all together and to carry the sport forward. And I think looking at the representation we've got on the board, with a good mix of representative directors and independent directors, I think we've got the right people to take it on.
I can't go throughout an interview without mentioning the popular words at the moment, credit crunch. How do you think that's affected the industry?
Well, I think we are hearing that things are difficult, but you know, over my experience of going to the event, people are still there. It's a good form of entertainment. We've got some good opportunities for people to benefit from the sport, but it's going to be difficult. I think the tracks are finding it's a bit of a pinch, but I'm sure we're going to get through it.
Do you think more money should be paid towards prize money for owners and trainers?
Well, I think this is one of the matters we've got to consider, and as you mentioned, a credit crunch. We have to see what we've got and make sure we apply it appropriately.
Of course, you're famously associated with Manchester United, a company that pays its stars millions of pounds a year to perform. And of course in dog racing, trainers and dogs get a lot less.
No, I think that's a very good point. I think, but it's what I suppose the sport earns, and in football at the moment they are fortunate, I think, to have some very considerable TV income, thanks to Sky and others, and I think that enables the sport to pay its stars. But again, you know, there's a lot of talk in football about wage caps and keeping expense within the right limits, and I think that's important with any sport. You've got to make sure that the sport is healthy financially.
Perhaps the biggest problem for greyhound racing over the last 20, 30, maybe even 40, 50 years since it started was the fact that the tracks are owned by different businesses, and here's one controlling body trying to pull all those people in the same direction, and that's never worked before. How confident are you it can work now?
Well, I think it will work. I don't think the Greyhound Board of Great Britain's interests are necessarily different from its constituent parts. I think what we've had is probably two different factions, perhaps not getting on very well with each other historically, and that's one of the reasons why we've had Donoughue. But I'm hoping what we've got here with the with everybody represented within this body, doing its best for greyhound racing. It's got balance, and our objective is to do our best for the sport and to take it forward.
Final question, Maurice. How committed are you to making this work?
Very committed. I'd hate to have taken this job on and not done my best. And I've got a lot of involvement in different sports. I love sport. I work in sport, and I want to make this a success.